The SkillTwins were once the most popular and iconic freestyle football group. Everything always looked amazing on camera, but behind the scenes, something extremely tragic was waiting to destroy their careers. Their football videos used to get millions of views. They've collaborated with some of the biggest brands and footballers from all around the world. These guys were living a life that most kids could only dream of. But if you look at their channel today, it's completely dead. Their last video was uploaded about a year ago, and we haven't heard much from either twin. So, what happened to the SkillTwins? And where are they now? Well, to properly understand what happened, we have to go back to where it all started. Josef and Jakob El-Zein were born in Sweden in 1998. And when they were only 4 years old, the boys already displayed exceptional talent on the ball. Everyone knew already that football was going to be a major part of their lives. They kept on honing their talent through their adolescent years. They were destined to do great things in their future and working hard, step by step, to try and reach the professional level in football. But that was until the age of 15, when something happened that almost ended their careers for good. Both Josef and Jakob suffered terrible knee injuries while playing the game they loved. What makes this story quite weird is that they actually both suffered from the exact same injury, only 3 weeks apart from each other. The only difference was it wasn't on the same knee. One had it on his left knee and the other on the right, but still, it was like these guys were connected divinely, although negatively in this particular part. It was so serious that both of them needed surgery to help them recover. The worst part of it all was that they had to stop playing football for a whole year while in recovery. This was torture. It's like asking a lion not to hunt or a musician not to play his instrument. This was a very dark moment in their lives, but their love for the beautiful game never stopped, and they still regularly went and watched others play in football matches. But little did they know that what looked like a career-ending injury was actually going to set them on a new path and change their lives forever. And this time, in a positive way. Since they were injured, they couldn't play on the field with the other kids, but they were advised to keep on training on their own, off the pitch. So they began practicing on the streets, and this is where they developed their love for freestyle footballing. They would practice the craziest moves for hours and hours on end. As time went on, they kept on practicing their skills relentlessly and realized that they might have struck gold. Maybe professional football wasn't for them after all, but they felt they could definitely make their mark in freestyle footballing. At some point, performing on streets wasn't enough anymore. Jakob and Josef felt they had something great and they needed to show the entire world. So one time, sitting at their kitchen table, thinking of a name, Jakob came up with the SkillTwins. Little did they know this was going to be one of the biggest brands in freestyle footballing history. The SkillTwins began posting videos of themselves on YouTube. They made freestyle videos, tutorials, and even invented some crazy challenges we had never seen before. It went very quickly. They started growing a massive audience on social media, and their videos ended up reaching over 1 billion views in total. But unfortunately, we are still very far from these numbers, so please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much, and let's get back to the video. Their brand grew so big, they began doing insane collaboration deals with players like Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Kaká. The biggest brands in the world such as Nike came knocking at their door. Everyone wanted a piece of the twins. They even started launching their own business with multiple mobile games, and of course, their well-known freestyle-oriented ball called the Skill Ball. The twins worked extremely well together. It was like they had some kind of telekinesis that allowed them to perform with perfect harmony. They were a true dynamic duo, and the fans loved them. Their chemistry was perfect. They were humble, extremely talented, and so on. I could go on for days about the two brothers, but that's not why you clicked on the video. So let me explain what happened to them and what has caused this abrupt end to their careers. First of all, I'd like to say we don't want to invade their privacy. We won't be going into depth about what happened. We're making this video to give some clarity to their fans, as many of you were asking about them in our video about the F2 boys. Unfortunately, The SkillTwins have had to pause their flourishing careers because Jakob was diagnosed with a horrible illness. He made this known when he turned his personal Instagram account to private and wrote in his bio that he had been diagnosed with POTS, which is a form of dysautonomia. It is a disease caused by a malfunction in the autonomic nervous system, which controls processes like digestion, heart rate, and blood pressure. He also mentioned his illness was caused by craniocervical instability, which is a disease that affects the area where the skull and the spine meet. The condition has had horrible consequences on Jakob's ability to move, making it nearly impossible for the duo to perform their skills as they used to. It is said that POTS can get better over time, so let's hope and pray that this is the case for Jakob. Josef and Jakob were two sides of one perfect coin. So with Jakob going through such an incredibly hard time, the brothers have decided to put an end to their careers for now. We can't tell whether the SkillTwins will ever be back or not, but whatever the case may be, we know the SkillTwins name and spirit will bring joy to fans around the world for years to come. Hopefully we were able to give you the information you were looking for. Let us know how you discovered the twins or what you remember most about them in the comments below.